Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on 1973 Dart right here. That's my friend Sam's. It's been in his garage for a long time. He bought it up in the UP. And for those of you that don't know what that means, that's Upper Michigan. 1973 Dart. So this is a 340 727. What does it have for a rear end? Okay. Unknown rear end, which means it's perfect.
Well, it's 8 1/4 axle.
Okay, 8 1/4 rear end. This car is kind of unique. It has a few features that you don't get in your regular Darts. This car was previously owned by a gentleman who was setting it up to be driven with hand controls. It actually has 2 throttle pedals. This one over here, and there's the factory one. And look at that performance pedal, right? Yeah, those are drywall screws that the guy ran right through the pedal to give him a little bit more grip. Don't buy those cheap covers at AutoZone. Just do this. This car has it's a 4-pedal car. It's got a 340. I don't know if this is the high compression pimped out 340 or if it's the low compression one. Okay, there we are. Now this car has actually been running before. Sam did do just a basic kind of will it run in the thing. So we know a little bit more about this engine than probably you would on one of these that you drag out of the woods. It does have a couple of upgrades already. It has an HEI distributor in here. It's got headers. It has a 4-barrel intake with some sort of old school Mopar specific Holley carb on there. I've been told that this thing leaks from everywhere. It's doing carburetor things. That's normal. What we're going to try today is to jump wire this thing. As you can see, our bright yellow wire. This is 12 volts directly to the distributor. We're going to run another wire for our start signal using a lone wolf trigger just to get this thing running and driving. Before we do any of that, we're going to push this we're going to push this beautiful automobile outside. We're going to give it a quick bath so that we're all motivated to keep working on it. Yeah, okay. Heave-ho, here we go. You guys push from there. We're gonna grab the power washer and give this thing a quick bath. I don't think it's been washed since since Sam's owned it. I'll change into my swimsuit. I brought my European swimsuit this time. That way, when it gets all steamy out here, you guys, you'll understand. That way I don't sweat too much. And I'm totally kidding. One of my viewers mentioned or made a joke about like, yeah, when are you gonna do the steamy power washing scene? I'm like, that's not happening. Here it is, all clean. Look at that, it's basically restored already. This car has been through a lot, and it's had a lot of different modifications, as I kind of covered briefly in the last clip. Oh, by the way, sorry for the heater noise, but we live in Wisconsin and it's fucking cold here, so deal with it. It's been brought to my attention that this car has suffered 1 or maybe 2 wiring fires under the hood here, and there's evidence of that by melted insulation and all sorts of other badness with this wire harness. For today is we're going to abandon all of the factory wiring to the car. We're going to do 2 wires, one for start, one for ignition, just so that we don't put power on any of the rest of this, because there's several, what's a nice way of saying it, less than ideal wiring connections under the hood here. I see a lot of electrical wire tape kind of wrapped around what I assume to be twisted together wires. We won't talk about this at all. We have an HEI distributor, so we should have spark. We're gonna get a bottle feed set up to see if we can get this thing to run for a few seconds. And if it does, then we can get a more temporary, slightly more permanent fuel system. So stick around. I think step one here, this is, I don't know what to say about this, but I guess I should start by saying that this car was modified by someone not Sam. So some of this stuff is a little more questionable, but the first thing we're gonna do is disconnect this main power wire, which has clearly a very good connection right here. And that runs to the starter relay. That should power up the rest of the car. So we're gonna disconnect that so that we're not sending power through a very questionable wiring. Okay, we're gonna call that slightly better than before. However, it does seem really loose now. Is it actually loose? Okay, so the terminal down on the starter is tight. Well, how do I explain this? The insulation over the cable down to the starter is a little bit loose, and I think that kind of allows this cable to flop a little bit. The crimp on the end is still tight, and it's still tight to the starter, so hopefully we don't have any shit shooting around. Okay, so we have our fuel system right here. I'm gonna hook up the remote start switch here. I just have to crawl down there and hook it up to the solenoid on the starter, and then we're gonna drop the battery in here, fill the carb up, and see if we can't get it to do something. All right, time for the fire test. Got the freshly juiced up battery right here. So I like to start with the ground. And then we'll see if we have any sparks. Smell anything? Lone Wolf is hooked up. This car is on open headers. So what do we call that? Full America is what we call that. It's Saturday morning in America, and we're about to make some noise. Oh, you got a bolt or a ratchet to tighten this. I thought I saw it sparking before. Well, I guess let's see, huh? Oh, is it in neutral or park or whatever? Just so it doesn't spit those things out the back.
It says it's in park.
There's no fire in there yet. Not bolted. Oh, okay.
Leaking all over.
Well, I suppose, yeah, we'll sop that up a little bit, and then you will probably grab the fire extinguisher. All right, going hot. Hey. Trying to start. I just not have enough crank. Okay, try. Hooked up the battery charger. I think we're gonna need a little bit more juice. So we've got some starting spray in there. Ignition, slide now.
Timing just super far off?
Could be. All right, so here's the update. We tried spinning this thing over. It popped once or twice, a couple times, with a little bit of starting fluid down the carburetor. It seems like we're fighting a couple of issues. Number one, it seems like this thing is cranking really slow. So we have what looks to be an original equipment positive battery lead right down to the starter. So Sam is actually working on whipping up a new starter cable. He's got the crimping tool and some 2-gauge cable. While he's doing that, we actually have another carburetor right here. This is a manifold that Sam bought. This is like, what, a poly 4-barrel. We don't know the condition of this one, but we're thinking it's likely in better shape than the one that's on the car. So I know you shouldn't change more than one thing at a time, but we're gonna put on this slightly better looking used carburetor and try to get a new battery cable, see if we can't get this thing fired up. Alright, in case you're curious what the end of that cable looked like, this is it right here. So yeah, any of you electrical people out there will know that this is not going to carry that much current. Had a bunch of frayed pieces here and a bunch of grease. So we're making a new one right now. We're going to thread that back in there and see if we can't crank it up. After at least an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, we have a new battery cable. Getting this battery cable on that starter is next to impossible. I've heard people talk about how difficult it is to work on a Mopar, especially a small block with headers, and they are not kidding. New battery cable, all nice and fresh. We have a new used carburetor. We filled the bowls with a little bit of gas. The distributor's in the same place as before, so we're gonna try one more time to see if we can't get this thing to fire up. Definitely cranked better. A little more. Let's see if we have any accelerator pump. Oh, I did hear some. Okay. And maybe it's because of my ignition connection here. All right. Absolutely nothing.
Is that a spark problem?
Yeah, almost. Well, because I think it's just galloping when it's cranking, because maybe we have just slightly uneven compression, but just doesn't seem like it's spinning fast enough.
Do you want me to just go grab a different battery and see if that makes a difference?
Let's see. I put some in the bowl already, put a little more in there. This carburetor doesn't seem to leak. That should do it. Okay, where's that fire extinguisher? Yeah, a little carburetor action there. Okay. It's taking all of it, that's for sure. Isn't gushing out anywhere.
I don't see it leaking anywhere.
Oh, there it comes. Yes, okay. Bowl's full. Alright. Try again. So we found that the ground connection on the cylinder head was pretty worn out.
You want to wire wheel this too, or?
We are going to clean up probably the end of the terminal here. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but the cylinder head had a bunch of paint and stuff on it. So clean that up with a wire wheel and reattach the ground. It's better. I would think we could get something to happen if
we... Like that.
Yeah, just need to crack the throttle a little. So, like, reason number one, you should be jealous of us today. I mean, let's throw out the fact that literally nothing has gone right on the Dart so far. But look at this. That's right. Burrito bowls, man. What kind of chicken is this? Asayote? Sure.
Asayote.
Look at this. That's right. Sam's wife put this all together for us. So, at the very least, we're going to win at lunch. Viewers, so off camera, we let this battery boil for a little bit on the charger. This thing acts really funny. I'm not sure what's up with it. Anyway, new carburetor's on there. We hooked up a temporary fuel system to a clicky clack and turned it on. Went to go fill the bowls, and it seems this carburetor has a problem. Either a sunk float or a bad needle in seat stuck something, and filled one of the cylinders with gas. Tried to light it, or tried to crank it over and hydrolocked it.
No! God, please, no! No!
So we're now going to pull all the plugs and crank this thing over, try to get all that gas out of there, and then mop it up, and hopefully it evaporates and we don't have a shop fire. Because it's ridiculous. Alright, so just a minor environmental disaster here. We tried to crank the engine over inside the shop and shot fuel everywhere. So it seems like this entire engine was full of fuel. So there's a nice light coating all over the whole engine bay right now, as well as all over the ground. And here, and maybe the ceiling in the shop. So we're gonna let this sucker air out a little bit, and then maybe put the plugs back in it and see if we can't get the light off then. Okay, Sam and Neil are running to the store to buy a carburetor. Because the three that we have, none of them work, and we can't get rebuild kits for them anyway. So we're gonna go buy a new one. In the meantime, Andrew and I are gonna slap the new wheels and tires on this car. And then maybe if we have enough time, we'll zip screw the floor pans in just so that if we do, for some miracle reason, get this thing to run, maybe we can actually sit in it. All right, we're back. So, look at that thing fresh off the O'Reilly shelf right there. New Edelbrock carburetor. Hopefully that thing with a little bit of fuel will actually work. We are still trying to solve our battery problem. We need to, I think Neil has a diesel truck. I think we're going to use that to try to jump this thing to get it to actually spin a little bit faster. So stay tuned for that. Okay, what attempt number is this? 453? No. Alright, new carb. We have slightly more than a little voltage in this battery. I don't know what's up with this freaking spaceship battery charger, but it doesn't work. Maybe. It works kind of. So, we're going with aerosolized fuel only at this point because I think off camera, I don't know if we filmed that, we hydrolocked this son of a gun. Yep, we filled the entire engine with gasoline because I guess who would have thought that 3 used carburetors from Marketplace from sketchy sellers would not work well. So we're going to try this. Should have said bring the thunder. Okay, bring the thunder again.
Is the carb full?
We didn't put any fuel in there yet.
So
I was just hoping to at least get it to bark. But just a little, I don't want to put any liquid fuel in it yet. I just want to get it to do something off the can.
I think it needs a shitload of starting fluid, doesn't it?
I mean, this stuff will evaporate faster than liquid gas will. As Neil goes to get the truck. Yeah. I think he's done messing around.
Yeah, just a layer in there.
Sure. Yeah.
What could go wrong?
That should work. Here we go. Should be doing something by now. Oh.
Is it hooked up?
No. Fucking ignition came off.
Hey, it's a part of
Oh.
Hey,
God.
I didn't realize a spark was important for this.
Jeez.
Hey Neil, hang on, wait. If you hook the ignition up, it
Wire
helps.
to the distributor, ignition was off. Yep, we'll try this. Here we go.
Don't we need to choke it though? Is that too much air? It's on top, right?
Ready?
Yeah. burning.
Probably everything.
Hands are on fire. Everything we just did.
Oh man! All right, so viewers, just to let you know, that's not the right way that you should do this. But through a very, very slow and painful process of elimination, we essentially figured out all the stuff that was wrong. Right?
All at one time.
So it runs. Needed new plugs, needed a carburetor. What else? Really, we didn't fix that much else. Everything else was right. The timing, vacuum line, maybe, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, we had a couple of things that weren't right. So let's see. I think maybe now we can look into cooling system, see if we can't get this thing to run for a little while longer. So thanks for sticking around. We'll keep working at this. I don't think we're going to drive this today, but who knows? Maybe we can get it up in the air and try the transmission. All right, so update. We have dropped the oil. We've installed the upper and lower radiator hoses, and we poured a little bit of water in this thing. And unfortunately, we finally found the thing that is going to stop us from driving it this weekend, and that is the fact that there's a freeze plug leaking on the driver's side. Our mission now is to get the thing to run long enough so that we can check the transmission. I rebuilt the brakes. By that I mean I poured more fluid in. It wasn't all gone, so it's probably fine. Anyway, I think we're gonna give this thing another try here, see if we can't get it to run and idle, and then we're gonna check the transmission.
Get toe pig up here. We'll siphon out. Oh wait.
Have any fuel in there?
I have it drained now, or I've got it tilted so it should pick up whatever's left.
Oh yeah, you can hear it right away. Try to test the transmission right now. Rear end's off the ground. We don't have a ton of fuel left in the bowl. We're going to try to fire it up and see if we can't drop it in and drive. This one was going backwards. Rear and drive. We have a brake hanging up or something.
Really?
Oh, this is a limited slip? Because it's spinning this one backwards. You were spinning that backwards?
No, I was spinning it forwards.
Oh, okay, so it's open. All right. Okay, open rear. So see if we can get it. Is it in neutral right now? Fire it up and pull it down one gear into drive. Give it a little throttle. A little more. Okay. Okay, we are gonna wrap it up right here. We've been working on this car literally since 10 o'clock this morning. It's what, 6, 7 o'clock at night right now. However, this car runs and the transmission works. Those wheels were spinning when we were in reverse and drive, and the rear brakes work. Right now we're gravity bleeding the front brakes, which I have a suspicion that maybe they might work someday soon. On the top of the list is to try to fix all the water leaks. This car does have a leak at the water pump and on the freeze plug on the driver's side. But considering that the beginning of this day, this car was on wheel dollies, on flat tires, it now has 4 matching brand new tires, a working transmission, and an engine that runs. And it runs really, really good. So, thank you to Sam and Andrew and Neil and Ben and May and Seth and everybody else that was here today. We kind of dogpiled on this thing. We were kind of despondent around lunchtime, but it runs now. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here, consider subscribing. There's a lot more cool shit like this coming. So, see you in the next one.